the Federal Reserve releases its Beige Book outlining the current economic state amid the coronavirus pandemic. I do want to now bring in President Trump's former economic advisor, Stephen Moore, to talk more about that report and the latest on reopening the U.S. economy. Hi, Steve. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Hi, Greta. Great to be with you.
The Beige Book did show a sharp decline across all districts in the U.S., unemployment surging. Those, though, are all things that we know and we expect to see in these reports as the economy has been shut down amid the pandemic. One interesting thing for me, though, was the challenges to reopening cited by businesses which responded to the Fed, one of those being the expanded unemployment benefits. You and I have talked in the past about how that extra money can incentivize people not to return to work, and we're seeing those concerns in this report. What's your takeaway on that?
It's a huge problem. There's no question about it, Greta, that when you're paying people more money to stay at home than to go to work, you're going to have a really hard time getting, as we see so many states opening up. I think there are about 28 states now that are starting to be open for business. And by the next week or two, it'll probably be closer to, 40 states. It's going to be very difficult for construction companies, manufacturers, stores, restaurants to get people back to work because we've done something really dumb in Washington. We're paying people more money, sometimes $600 a month more, to stay unemployed. And I've talked to employers all the time that are confirming what the Beige Book is showing, which is that they are having, here we have 35, 36 million people unemployed, and yet employers can't get people back on the job because of these benefits.
White House economic advisor Larry Kudlow did show some openness from the White House to a plan being floated by Senator Rob Portman. He proposed giving Americans an incentive to return to work, a $450 bonus on top of their paycheck if they do go back to work until July 31st, which is the timeline for the expanded unemployment benefits under the CARES Act. What do you think about something like that?
Well, as you probably know, Greta, that Arthur Laffer and Steve Forbes and I have been the loudest voices for just curtailing and suspending the payroll tax for the rest of the year. You want to give people a really good incentive to get back to work. Just don't collect the money and take it right out of the people's paycheck. That would give every single worker in America a 7.5% pay raise, and would give every employer a 7.5% reduction in employment costs. That will cause more hiring, and it'll incentivize workers to get back to work. I think Portman's idea is fine. It would not be my first choice. The most important thing we do to get people back to work is stop these expanded unemployment benefits, because it's going to be hard for the private sector to compete. Any employer is going to have a hard time competing with all those extra benefits we're giving people. Senator Portman's idea is he's got the right idea in mind and good motivations, but I think it would be a lot smarter. Why not just not collect the money from the workers in the first place? Why not just give them their payroll tax dollars? People don't realize that FICA tax, that 7.5%, take it right out of your paycheck before you ever see the money.
The Conference Board did find that consumer confidence rose unexpectedly this month. Confidence in current conditions dipping slightly still, but the expectations index did rise. Consumers, of course, key to this economy recovering as we do begin to reopen. Does that report give you any optimism for future activity in the economy as we are reopening?
Well, where I am in my thinking is I believe we're going to have a U-shaped recovery. That means it's going to be bad summer, Greta. I don't want to sugarcoat this for people. We're going to have 20% unemployment this summer for many months as businesses start to get their feet back on the ground. A lot of businesses and a lot of retailers are going to go under. That's going to be a very sad day for America. You're starting to see a lot of the big retailers already declaring bankruptcy, companies like J.Crew. And so I do think it's going to be a tough summer because we did so much damage to our economy by this ridiculous shutdown of American businesses for the last 6 or 8 weeks. But when come the fall, I do think you're going to start to see business conditions pick up. I think you're going to start to see a recovery. But throughout the year, we're going to still see unemployment, in my opinion, above 10%. And that's really terrible. I mean, we're in a recession. There's no doubt about it.
As more states do expand their reopening efforts, many Democrat-run states and cities are doing so at a slower pace than GOP areas, and that's costing their economies millions, hurting residents there. Come fall, what do you think we'll be seeing in terms of jobs and business conditions for red states compared to blue states?
Well, you're exactly right, Greta, that the red states have raced out of the gates. They're opened up. Florida's opened up. Texas has opened up. Tennessee has opened up. You've got states like Iowa, Nebraska, and Idaho, and Utah that are opened up. And they're going to have a head start, no question about it. They're going to have a lot better economies than states like New York and Connecticut and New Jersey. My home state of Illinois, I was just in Chicago over the Memorial Day weekend. It's sad, you go downtown Chicago and it is a ghost town because everything is shut down. A lot of those businesses will never come back. So it is imperative that we get these blue states to open up, these blue mayors to open up their cities, because it's going to, if they don't open up soon, New York City and Chicago and Los Angeles and San Francisco, it could take 5 to 10 years for them to get back to where they once were.
All right, economist Stephen Moore joining us to discuss the latest economic impacts of the coronavirus outbreak. Thanks so much for coming on the show today, Steve.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube. And call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.